Every year on F1 YouTube, people release their predictions for what each team's driver lineup will look like for the next season, and then we all get to laugh at how unbelievably wrong they are at the end of the season, and it's always hilarious. And so, since this is my first full year of being an F1 YouTuber, I simply have to make one of these videos. And also, I didn't do my full season predictions video, but this silly season will hopefully live up to the name, and with any luck, it'll be very exciting for everyone. Anyway, let's get into it, starting with the boring teams who aren't changing their driver lineups. And kicking it off, Mercedes. They have two exceptional drivers, and there would honestly be no reason to get rid of either of them at all, unless they started crashing every race. But I can't see that happening, so they're going to keep their two drivers. The same goes for Ferrari, who are going to be happy with their two drivers of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, especially as the only person who could replace either one would probably be Ollie Behrman. But once again, I can't see that happening unless one of them starts fumbling every race, which, to be fair, has happened before. Perez in 2023 and 4. I mean, that was largely a car issue, but the point is that it's not impossible, particularly if one of them is getting much more of a say in car development than the other. However, I don't think that's going to happen, and Ferrari will be more than happy to keep them both around. Remember at the start of the year when we were all saying that Ollie Behrman would get a promotion or that Lewis Hamilton would retire? That's certainly not happening for 2027, and probably not for 2028 either, meaning Behrman will probably have to wait a while to get that promotion he and most of the F1 fanbase have been wanting. I guess except for the long-time Tifosi, because they know what'll happen by now, and they don't want Ferrari to ruin his career. Next up in the boring teams is Cadillac, who will stick with their current lineup of Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. They still won't have the pace to warrant signing a young talent, and they still need to develop their car nicely, which Perez and Bottas will do for them. They'll also want to keep Colton Herta in F2 to get him adjusted further to these kind of cars, and then bring him up once they're in a position to score points regularly, and start to give him a say in how the car is developed. But for now, they shouldn't bring him up yet, and they'll keep their current experienced lineup. Now we're getting to the teams who will make changes, but not quite there yet, as we have Alpine, or for 2027, Gucci Racing, who will keep their current lineup of Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto. They have no real reason to change it, and while they do have a promising junior in Gabriele Mini, they will want to stop changing their second driver so often, and keep Colapinto in there while he's performing at a good level, as opposed to once again shaking up one side of the garage. As for Pierre Gasly, he has no better options, and Alpine have no reason to get rid of him, so he's staying. However, there has been some talk about someone on another team not staying. Fernando Alonso at Aston Martin. He's getting old, he's at an Aston Martin team that's so bad, underperforming is an understatement, and leading up to Barcelona this year, he said that it was probably his last Barcelona race in Formula 1, leading to many people speculating that he'll retire from the sport. So, will he retire and wave goodbye to his many years in Formula 1?
No!
He said that he wants to prove that he still has the racing skill in him, and wants to end his career off with a bang, saying that he'll probably retire in 2026 if the car is good, which it definitely is not. So I think he'll stay at Aston Martin and try to improve the car for 2027. As for Stroll, he's staying. As much as I don't like him still being in F1, Aston should keep him as this car has been at least partially built around him since 2019. And Aston needs to make major upgrades to the car and not adjust it to a completely new driver, so he's staying as well. But what about McLaren? There have been so many rumors going around about how Max Verstappen is going to go into McLaren, and suddenly it's the top F1 story. So, will he go to McLaren? No. I made a short about this already, so I don't want to go over it again, but I don't think Max wants to go to McLaren, so they'll keep Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. And now we're done with all the teams who aren't changing their drivers, so let's get into all the rest, starting with Haas. Haas has had by far the most conversation going around about their driver lineup, with Esteban Ocon massively underperforming, meaning they'll likely have to replace them for 2027. And in this conversation, 3 names have been passed around. Rafael Kamara, a young prodigy driver in the Ferrari Academy, Yuki Tsunoda, who seems to be the pick of Toyota, who want a Japanese driver in that seat, and more recently, Leonardo Fornaroli, the 2025 F2 champion, and part of the McLaren Academy, who seem to be trying to pay Haas to take him on for them. These 3 sides, with 3 different entities pushing for them, have been a massive talking point, and nobody seems to agree on what'll actually happen. Now, personally, I think it'll be Kamara. Ferrari will dump a second junior on Haas, and Haas will decide he's the best option, as he makes Ferrari happy, as well as giving Haas an amazing young driver to score them points, rather than opting for experience in Yuki Tsunoda. Hey, real quick, I'm sorry for this, but I need to ask you to subscribe. I know you probably just wanted to watch this silly video, but I'm a small YouTuber and people always seem to forget that the subscribe button exists, and reminding people to subscribe actually does work. Also, while I'm on this topic, you can use YouTube's new hype feature and like the video. That would be very much appreciated because it helps more people find this video. So please do that. Anyway, back to the video. We're keeping things going with Audi, who will sign Carlos Sainz, giving them a new driver lineup of Gabriel Bortoleto and Carlos Sainz. Williams have been performing much worse than expected this season, and there have been reports that Sainz has been meeting with Audi. Now, Hülkenberg has been very good this season, and his total of 0 points so far is mostly due to terrible luck. However, that being said, he is one of the older drivers on the grid, and Audi would likely be eager to sign Carlos Sainz over him, because even though he isn't German, he is a race winner, and Audi would definitely love to have him. So I think the mutual interest and the bad performance of Williams so far will push Carlos and Audi to sign a contract for 2027. But that leaves a seat open at Williams, so who will go there? I was honestly struggling to think of anybody and kind of half-heartedly put down Luke Browning, because I felt like his Formula 1 ship had sailed, with him no longer being the age of a traditional rookie nowadays, at 24 years old, and being abandoned to Super Formula. I mean, he's not old, but I kind of just think he doesn't have a chance anymore. Not that I don't like him or think he's a good driver or anything, it's just that F1 changes quickly, and if you show up at the wrong time, you're just out of luck. But then I was reminded that someone might want one of their junior drivers in Formula 1, and they could pay Williams to take them on. And I remembered that McLaren wants Fornaroli in an F1 car, and Williams, with a seat open, and also being a team with a Mercedes engine that could get Fornaroli used to that power unit, McLaren might see an opening once Haas don't take Fornaroli on, and Williams, looking for a driver, will happily take McLaren's money and take on a promising new driver in a win-win situation for the two teams. Now onto the Red Bull Junior team, RB. A few weeks ago, a Spanish motorsport news outlet called Soy Motor claimed that Red Bull Junior Nikola Tsolov would be at RB for 2027, replacing Liam Lawson, who would get the boot. Now, this has been dismissed as false by RB's team boss, Alan Permain, who said they hadn't really considered it at all yet. However, although there was actually no merit to the information or research put into this story, I think it was mostly correct, and thus, Nikola Tsolov will partner Arvid Lindblad at the Red Bull Junior team for 2027. But you might notice that I haven't spoken about Red Bull yet, but Isack Hadjar is definitely staying, and I've already said that Verstappen's not moving teams, so what the heck do I think is going to happen? Well, I think that in an announcement that shocks the whole F1 world, Max Verstappen announces his retirement from F1, as he hates these new regulations, all of the media duties, and just isn't enjoying his time in Formula 1. He's also been upset with the Red Bull car, and he might not want to continue in the sport. Now, remember when I said the story of Nikola Tsolov going to RB was mostly correct? Well, I said mostly, because replacing Max Verstappen will be Liam Lawson, who, under the new Red Bull management, is given a second chance in the main team, and can really show what he can do with the proper opportunity in a top team, also reuniting him with his friend Isack. Will this happen? Yeah, probably not. But I can actually see it happening, and it would be the perfect F1 silly season crazy driver move to make everyone freak out. And I could totally see Max Verstappen not caring about staying in F1 and just pulling the plug, which would be crazy to see. But those are my 2027 F1 driver lineup predictions. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, use some of your hype points if you want other people to see this, and subscribe!